But they said the reason why it does that is because
Well, they can fix all the joints and places like that. You just don't.
Let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. I have 12:02. Let's go ahead and get started, please. So I'm calling the meeting to order officially. And the Metro ordinance requires that we say pursuant to the provisions of 2.68030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, please take notice that decisions of the National Public Library Board may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for a review under a common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. And pursuant to TCA 8-44-12, time is reserved at the beginning of the library meeting for which there is an actionable item on the agenda for public comment germane to items on the agenda. Up to 5 people will be allowed, up to 3 minutes each to speak. Speakers must register within 1/2 hour prior to the beginning of the meeting by signing their name on a physical sign-up sheet available at the entrance and identifying any agenda item on which they intend to comment. So let's adhere to that. I have whatever you want to be. I have 2 people who have signed up. We want to welcome them. Alexandria Danner, I think it is. Alexandria? And she wants to speak to item 8A on the agenda. And Sherry, are you doing? No, I called you Sherry. Who's doing timing for me?
Me, I'll do
Okay,
time.
okay. I'm sorry, I called you Sherry.
Are you going up here? Yes.
Alexandria,
Great.
thank you for coming. to say that there is no motion yet. We're just looking at this. We're just going to be reviewing the status as put on the agenda, I think. Let's hear from Sherry Adams.
Good afternoon.
This process dating back to the selection of the interim. The board publicly announced that it was not their desire to appoint an interim that was interested in the position. Although legal said that anyone could apply for the position, the board moved forward with appointing someone that previously stated she was not interested in the position, Terry Luke. Fast forward to the 4 finalists. Mr. Simmons strongly expressed his desire to make Terry Luke the director without supposedly ever seeing the 4 finalists. To us, it seemed apparent that he and some of the other board members had been made aware of the finalists prior to the meeting. This would not have been the first time that NPL board broke the Sunshine Law. The entire selection process for Kent Oliver broke the Sunshine Law. We do not recall any of that process being public. Naming a permanent director that has not completed the process that the board and Rogel Jones created to be equitable, transparent, and inclusive of staff and the communities is totally opposite of what Joyce Searcy stated at a board meeting. She stated if the board rejected all candidates after the interview process, we will go back through the process. Are we going back through the process? Can we trust the board to do this? Was there a private meeting between the board and Terry to learn her vision for NPL and to answer questions posed to the finalists? It is only fair that staff and the community hear Terry's vision and answers to those questions since they were used to eliminate all 4 finalists. Ms. Searcy stated that the survey used for the 4 finalists was a way to keep our promise to staff that they would be involved in the search. If an appointment is made today, can you in good faith say you and the board kept your promise to staff? Naming a director today that has not completed an interview process will set a precedent that could be detrimental to NPL's leadership future. Previously, a union steward described unionized staff as feeling robbed after the finalist interviews. In closing, our feelings
Thank you
of being
so much.
robbed and
We have to
disrespected
now
and betrayed
end,
are
Sherry.
not a
Thank you
result of
so
broken
much.
selection.
We want to thank you so much for coming today to share that with us. Okay. So let's go on to comments. I don't really have a lot of comments. I want to thank Nadine. Not thank Nadine, but welcome her back. She had you want to tell us?
This is a newer mic y'all brought about. Hello, my little one, John Cruz, was born December 19th. Today was supposed to be his due date. He came 2 months early, weighing 3 pounds. He is a whopping he's 7 pounds and 14 ounces. So he got some weight on him now. And it's a privilege to be back and this is such a monumental moment, and so thank you all for sharing, and I'm just glad to be back.
Thank you. Welcome back. Does he have a library card yet? Okay.
Not yet, but I did sign him up for Dolly Parton's.
Yeah. And I want to congratulate Brett Wilson. Brett, I'm sure we saw him on all of the media. as head of the Wishing Chair Productions. It was excellent. So we're so thankful to have you. So thankful to have you on the staff, and saw the story about the wartime love letters. I mean, it was just awesome. And the last thing is that Katie Varney, she doesn't know what I'm going to say.
I have not a clue what you're going to say.
But since Terry was unable to go to her presentation, I mean, for questioning by the Metro Council person, the Metro Council committee that determines who they will present before the total council, I was able to go with her. And I want to thank you so much for your wanting to serve again.
So much, and
Wanting to serve.
I'm pleased that I was approved.
Yes, yes. So you know, where Terry is unable to come to something, I know I was able to go with Rosalind as well, to be there for her, just so that they would have some support. It's something to be on the spotlight before them asking you all those questions. So we're just sitting in the background, but thank you so much for your service. So with that, I hope you all have had an opportunity to look at the minutes.
I'll move passage.
Okay. So
I will
there's a
second.
motion on the floor for approval of the minutes.
second.
And we have a second, Jarvis?
And may I?
Yeah.
I have two little edits
Amendments
that are
or edits.
ridiculous.
Thank you for looking.
So it will show that I do read them when I moved. On page 6, under Roman numeral 7, this, when somebody says something good about me, I want my name spelled correctly. If I did something bad, I'm fine for it to be misspelled, but my name is Katie in there, and I'd love it to be Y. And then on page 7, under the staff reports, B, resolution XV, Mr. Simmons is called Ms.
Okay. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
What page, Katie?
Page 6 and 7.
6 and
Okay,
7.
thanks, because I
So
went
Katie
over
name
these, so I
spelling,
missed it.
and let's say Mr. Simmons instead of Ms. I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Any other corrections, edits? So we probably need to have approval of the minutes as
Yes, it's already seconded.
seconded. So we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
You want that motion? I move that we
Yes, I think so.
approve the minutes as amended.
Okay, thanks, Kate. Second.
Yes.
Second. So we have a motion to approve the amendments as edited, amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we have minutes approved. Okay, next on the agenda is interim library director report.
Thank you, Joyce. Good afternoon, everyone. I was going to start by congratulating Katie on her reappointment, but also as a way to, an opportunity to thank her for all the years that she served on the library board. For those of you that don't realize, she is chairing the fundraising arm of the Begin Bright, and so $20 million, that's the latest figure I had, $20 million later with two huge gifts that we've never had before. I just want to say thank you for everything that you do for Nashville Public Library. The other thing I wanted to talk about next was our fiscal year 26 budget requests. We submitted our FY26 budget request on February the 7th. We're not really sure what to expect, but we asked for the following items. Our number one priority was the bookmobile. We asked to move 2 NPLF funded positions, a program manager and 1 program specialist, to be Metro funded. And that's really important because we want to make sure that once the bookmobile gets on the road, it stays there, and that depends right now on NPLF funding. Our second priority was branch staffing. It is the same request that we asked for last year. It was our second request last year because we needed to make sure that we got the staff for the new Donaldson. So we're asking for these positions so that it will bring us up to the state minimum. And right now, we're not even at state minimum for our staffing levels. And we have to ask for it over 3 years. So our priority is the 7 positions at our neighborhood libraries, because most of those operate with only 4 staff, and it really makes it difficult for Friday and Saturday to have staff available, and then the regionals or the community libraries have to help out, let alone if somebody gets sick. And then we asked, so we would ask for 3 positions for some of our community libraries next year, and then 2 positions at the regional libraries the year after that. The next thing we asked for is our NECAT lease. We've been able to have our lease at Nashville State for $1 a year. And we are that, I know, 20-something years later, we can't do that anymore. And so even though we plan to renovate the old Donaldson branch to be able to accommodate NECAT, we need an 18-month to 2-year time frame where we can stay at Nashville State and still operate NECAT out of that location. So we're working with Metro attorneys and the attorneys from Nashville State to put a new lease in place. But of course, we have to have the funding for that in our budget. The next thing is that NAZA, Anna, always, there are always things that she needs for her program. So she is requesting a part-time youth coordinator position, a summer program slots, justice-involved youth program slots, and that was a pilot program this year, but it was very successful. So now she would like to make sure that we continue to offer that now that the funding isn't there anymore, and develop a community leaders program. So NAZA, if when you go to the council presentations for our budget, you'll know that there are many council members who really value what NAZA does for the community. So, so we're hoping that that will get funded. The other thing we're asking for is $400,000 to be added to our budget, because last year we spent over $400,000 out of our temporary budget for security guards, not our main library security guards, not NPL security guards, but temporary security guards. And that really doesn't even cover every single hour that all of the libraries are open. And so Susan brought it to my attention that we had spent that amount. And so we're going to ask for that to be included in the budget this year. And then the other thing that's on there is Begin Bright. The mayor has committed to, has pledged $1 million for the Begin Bright campaign, but we needed to also include it as part of our budget. Any questions about that so far? It's in your email that went out, so.
Yes, I have a question, and I read your email.
That's
So
okay.
NECAT, is one of my favorite programs within the library system. I think it's excellent that they are moving to the Donaldson location, so potentially, and even though I work at Nashville State, I don't have anything to do with the lease situation. But is it possible to hear, in the upcoming future, how NECAT is going to integrate more into the overall library system?
And honestly, Tarvis, we've been really fortunate. Larry Jarek is actually overseeing NECAT. So Cameron is the manager for the program, but Larry Jarek has been doing the oversight since August, and there has been a definite change since his oversight. They recently went out to one of the high schools to do a special programming. They were at the Chinese New Year event. They were at Celebrate Nashville. So I think they have a really good one-year plan. But yes, we can have Larry and Cameron come and do a presentation.
I would like to hear that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And while we're on the budget, I just wanted to thank Paige Clancy and the NPLF Advocacy Task Force for really taking the opportunity to offer public comment at the February 4th Metro Council meeting. Two NPL ambassadors spoke about making it a priority to fund not only our operating requests, but the collection in FY26. So this is just another way that we're going to, continuing. The foundation is supporting and advocating for the library. The next step in the budget process is that Susan and I will present our request to the mayor's office and to the finance department on March the 19th. The next thing, and I'm sorry because we didn't meet in January, so this has more items than I usually do. The next thing is that we have the artist selection process for the Robinson Courtyard. This is a really important step in the design of the courtyard renovation. More than 70 artists submitted a proposal. The architecture firm narrowed it down to 10, and then we're supposed to meet tomorrow to narrow it down to 3. So we have people that needed to be at the table. Ben and Libby, Margaret Ann Robinson's daughter and son-in-law are there. Katie Varney's part of the process as well. So we'll be looking at the reason that this is such an important piece is that before we had the trees and now it will be the art that is the centerpiece of the courtyard. So that we can't really move forward in the design until we select the artist. Do you want to say anything more?
In talking with Tom Meek this morning and with the anticipated
Who's Tom Meek?
He's the
architect for GHP, potential for inclement weather, he still wants to have it, so we may be doing it Zoom, just heads up. So we really need to get this done because until we get an artist in place, it's going to be hard to do the other parts of it because we need to know the structure that's going to be underneath. So.
The next thing is just an update on the continuous improvement plan. The admin team will meet on February the 24th to continue discussing the feedback. We had 2 really excellent feedback sessions with the library managers, one in November and one in December. And then with my surgery, we didn't get to really start by the end of January like we'd hoped, but we felt like it was more important to take the time to really put something good in place. And so now we'll go ahead and identify action items and a timeline for the 2 focused areas, staffing and internal communications. We're moving forward in terms of capital spending. We're moving forward with the plans for the Green Hills renovation. And so we will have some news about who was selected for that renovation at our next meeting. And then with NECAT, Susan is working with General Services to go through the design development for the old Donaldson branch. So we've got lots going on in terms of building projects. So just a couple of upcoming author events that you might want to know about. The first one is on March the 5th at 5:30 at the main library. There's an evening with industry insiders for a women-made music panel. And then the second one is that Miss Joyce is moderating a conversation with Elaine Weiss for her new book called Spell Freedom. So that's March the 6th at 6:30. And then finally, the Votes for Women will kick off their speaker series that is made possible by the Shatton Foundation with Lewis Raven Wallace, who will discuss their book, The View from Somewhere, Undoing the Myth of Journalistic Objectivity. And that's on March the 25th at 5:30 at the main library. 2 important dates that before I finish to add to your calendar. The Bookmobile will celebrate its kickoff at the Rocket Ship United Academy at 9 a.m. on March the 21st. We had some delays because of the pandemic and shortages of pieces and parts. And so, kudos to Sarita and to Linda for actually taking something that was not theirs to start with, but doing a really good job putting the bookmobile program together. The other thing I wanted to, and this goes back to Charvis's question about NECAT, NPL will celebrate a first ever milestone for the library, a premiere of a sustainability documentary called It's All Connected, The Art of Sustainability, which was directed and produced by Cameron McCasland and the NECAT team. So this premiere is free and it's open to everyone at 5 p.m. on Saturday, March 22nd at the main library. So I think Andrea left you also a card that you can take with you, but again, I just think that they're doing some really, really good things at NECAT right now. So that's it for me.
Susan, not Susan. Terry,
Yeah.
I have one other question.
Yes.
So I know that you all are working on the design for the Donaldson location. Do you think you might have some type of design presented to you before or around the March meeting?
I'm not sure. The architect, which is Gresham Smith Partners, is on it. Right now, they're still looking at feasibility. There was a feasibility study done probably a year and a half ago by a different architectural firm, but now that they were chosen in January, then the project was put on hold. So now that it's been geared back up, they are following through with their preliminary stuff, so it won't be by
Sorry,
March.
and one more question. Sorry for taking up everyone's time. Within that design, do y'all plan on maybe potentially adding some areas where the public could come in and maybe do some programming there with NECAP potentially?
There is a program for the design, for the space already in place, and I think Lee had helped work on that back in the day when she was still here. I think there was some meeting space and that kind of thing, but they have that programmed in there where the public can come in. There'll be the editing rooms, there'll be
Good,
the
okay.
studio. I mean, it's, yes.
That's all. Thank you.
Other questions of Terry? I want to thank Terry for mentioning the March 8th, the Spell Freedom. You know, that book is not even out yet. And I think it would be available there, but I'm honored to have been asked to do that because, you know, I was young when a lot of that was going on. But it wasn't until we were adults later on that my parents and my oldest brother told me my family's involvement, you know, in all of that, and doing that in secret in the back of funeral homes and all of that kind of thing. So the book is fascinating, and I think it gives credit to where credit is due for the people who were on the ground who really made that happen. So I'm honored, and I hope you can come.
At March,
It's
6th or
March.
8th?
What's the third? It's
Hold
the
on, I
first
got it.
Saturday.
March
Why is it
6th.
March the 8th, because that's International Women's Day. March 8th.
Okay.
March the 6th. I'm sorry. It's the
March
first
6th at
Thursday
6:30.
And first Thursday in February. You go online and you get the free ticket. Okay, Sean.
Speaking about the Elaine Weiss event, you should have received an invite to come to a reception prior to the 6:30 talk. It was emailed. If you didn't get an email or would like me to send it to you again, just let me know, because we're having a small reception with Elaine for inviting donors, but also board members. So would love to have you join us for that if your schedule allows. The foundation is just embarking on a strategic planning process. We are kind of wrapping up our last one, which was took us from 2020 to 2025 now. And so just wanted to make everybody aware. We've had our first kickoff meeting and we'll be soon starting kind of with the focus groups and the conversations so that we get the input of the foundation staff, some library admin staff, board members. Really, ideally, we'll see if we can make it happen, but our ideal is that we could start the new fiscal year with our new strategic plan. So you'll be hearing more about that, but we just had our first kickoff meeting a week ago. I want to just share some more dates. I know we've thrown a lot of dates at you already. A few more. Picnic with the Library is coming April 27th. Would love for you to participate in some way. Also, tomorrow we are supposed to have our Black Men in Leadership gathering. And kind of depending on the weather, we have not yet called it, but we'll call it after this meeting, whether we will go forward with that or postpone it. So stay tuned for that. Rosalind has agreed to speak, so thank you. Hopefully we'll hear from you tomorrow, but if not, we're going to move it back a couple months. If there are any people you would like us to reach out and attend, we do Black men and Black women, usually once a year for each group. And now that it may not be tomorrow, you have more time to invite friends to join us. A couple other things. Our Carnegie Society book club is coming up. So if you're a member of Carnegie Society, invites, I think, are in the mail, maybe hitting your mailbox today. That is going to be an opportunity where we'll hear from Margaret Renkel on her latest book. And Margaret will be in conversation with Ann Patchett at the main library. Then also, Terry mentioned just the advocacy efforts. Take Action for Libraries Day is coming up in a couple months, and so we will be sharing a little bit more with you on that. But that's a chance where we have our ambassadors help to get the message out about the importance of our libraries and funding the library. So our message right now is fund the library fully, and then also just on collections, because that comes out of the 4% fund. So really looking for fully fund the library and the collections. Also, Library Giving Day is April 1, and that's not a joke, but it should help you remember that. We will hope that you will help to push that. We'll have information on our socials, and that's really a great way just for the community to be a part, to give back. And so if you do any kind of social media, would love for you to be sharing that with your network. And I think that's it, unless there's questions.
Questions for Sean?
Oh, actually, sorry, I forgot.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Literary Award Weekend. We have our author. And so the dates and the author, November 14 and 15. So this is a week later than it has been the last couple of years. And Amor Tolles will be our Literary Award honoree. So
Tell us
November 14 and 15.
tell us a little bit about Amor Tolles.
Gentleman in Moscow may be the book you're most familiar with, but he has just been delightful in our initial working with him, and just he is thrilled to come. And it makes such a difference when you have an author that wants to be here and is wanting to engage with the audience. So you're going to be in store for a wonderful weekend. We'll start putting information out soon.
The Lincoln Highway is also one. that's
Another
well
one
known.
that you may know. Yes. Yep.
That's good.
But so start reading them if you're not familiar with him. Both of those are great books, but he has more as well. So.
Rules of Civility.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Rules of Civility, I think, is his most highly touted.
Yeah.
I was starting.
Have to read before that time.
You've got a couple months.
I know.
Yeah.
Anybody else with questions? Thanks so much for everything and all of your support. Any more questions from Sean? Okay, so next on the agenda is new business, and we put vote on the interim director, Terry Luke's status, because we said that when we had our study session, we looked at the status of, the pros and cons, everything that was going on locally, nationally, internationally. At the end of that session, you put a priority on resolving uncertainty around Nashville Public Library Director's leadership. And at the last meeting, we had the discussion, and again, the only discussions that we've had have been, in public you asked me at that meeting to try to meet with Metro HR and Metro Legal. And so this has been a long journey, really. You know, and we know that this board has been entrusted with the library's success. And we want to make sure that all of our discussions, that we consider everything, all of the alternatives that we have. And we want to be very intentional and very diligent about what we're doing. And so after I met with Metro HR and Metro Legal, I want to report back to you that basically we have three options. The first option is to continue with Terry as the interim director for an extended period of time, and we can talk. I'm just going to present what they told me, and then we can discuss each one. So we can talk about the pros and cons of that. And so thankfully, I think we're in a place where we're thriving under an interim director. So we can do that if we want to. The second option is to begin a new search. And if we made that decision today, then we would have to talk about the nuts and bolts of that, how we do that. And I know we already, in our past meetings, we have acknowledged the concerns we had with the process. It was very challenging. Some of it was beyond our control, but it did affect our process. And then the third option would be to name Terry as the director of the Nashville Public Library, but we would have to talk through that too, you know, at this meeting. So I want to say that the board has had a lot of input. You know, we've had some council input. You know, I've gotten calls as I go down to Metro Council to put my other Belmont hat on that I deal with. I hear all of the comments that they're talking about. And they are very pleased, you know, with what's going on at the library and our leadership. I've had people to call me. I think we've had customer input. So, and I think you have too. So I want to thank the board for being very conscientious. I think one of the most important things we can do is to listen. And I think we have been listening very hard. And I also want to thank all of the people who have given us this input, who are so concerned about the direction of the future of the library. And I take the time to say what they think. So I want to thank them for doing that. So with that being said, you know, I think that the floor is open to talk about it. I think unless you have another way of doing it, I think we talk through the three options. So first option would be to continue with interim director. Nadine?
Yeah, just for clarification, we are going over some initial pros and cons about what that option looks like, just for clarity. I think the bonus of option one might be knowing that Terry brings about continuity and knowing the in and outs of the organization, whether through the experiences from the time that you were, appointed to the search afterwards. You have developed a continuous improvement model for what that looks like. You've been getting continuous feedback, which is phenomenal. So you kind of keep things going. Obviously, I'm not just talking to you, but you're sitting next to me. So I just think that those are that those might be some benefits for continuity. I also think that in this role, I think some of the cons might be that I think we need to be very diligent and fair and equitable as we consider her leadership and how long she's been an interim. In order to be an interim and have about a vision for an organization for this long, to some degree, Terry has been doing the job. And that is the biggest question mark that I have as it considers the cons of continuing this interim title because it is not reflective on what she has been doing for so long. So that might be a call to question, but also what I might put on the con section.
Anybody else? Uh-oh, pros and cons of,
Question about interim. Generally, how long is an interim, as this has been for a prolonged period of time?
You got that input. Yeah, you got it, yeah.
Sure. At the December meeting, you all tasked me with contacting Director Hall about how long people typically serve as interims. And she said, it kind of varies based on the need of the department. Typically, 6 to 18 months would be standard. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. There's not like a set prescribed average that I can give you, but I shared that information with you all back in December.
Terry has just asked an interesting question, and I'll refer this to legal about her being present during this discussion.
I mean, if it would be more comfortable for you to step out, that's fine. There's no conflict with you being in the room, but I do acknowledge that it's a little uncomfortable and awkward maybe, but you're not voting, so it's okay if you're here.
What does the board prefer? I'm fine to do whatever. Would it give you an opportunity to speak more freely if I wasn't at the table?
It's a public meeting, I mean, everything we say is public, so.
Yeah, it's really based on
So
what.
sit there and take it.
Whatever feels comfortable.
Okay.
Anybody else have views on Kate?
Well, just to talk about number 2, the process through which we went,
Hope, Kate, state number 2 again? Just be clear.
Is to begin a new search.
Okay.
And there were differences in how the search was conducted this time than in prior searches with which I was not a part. But I don't think that any of the things that we thought made that hard have changed. So a new search is going to be, it was the identification of the search firm that was, there were a combination of factors in the choice of that firm that made some of us feel like we didn't have the very best library search firm doing the work. And if that's going to be the situation again, that's been the reluctance along the way to starting a new search. As far as I know, that's the same situation.
As far as I know that there was a committee of some sort by council appointed to review that process. And as far as I know, Susan, you could help us with that. As far as I know, they have not given us any new procurement process at all.
No, the procurement process wouldn't change if you went out of house, so to speak. If you did not use Metro HR for the search, the process for getting a search firm would be the same. That has not changed.
And just for clarification, that that firm is still the preferred firm, correct?
Not necessarily. If we went out for a new search firm, they could bid again, but that's not necessarily the preferred firm.
Remind us if you, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Susan, how many months did the process take from our first vote to start till Halloween till the day that we voted?
23? No. It was, I think, 11 months.
Yes, Jarvis.
I want to talk about option number 3. And this is going to be kind of hard for me to talk about. So let me say this. When we selected the interim position, I was the only board member that did not vote for Terry. It doesn't mean that she wasn't qualified, but I did not vote for Terry. When you look at society today, and I was sitting down and I was thinking, you know, we look at governments from a different level, you know, on one certain level, on a higher level, there are a lot of changes that are going on. Things outside the box are happening, making people uncomfortable. And then when you look at what we have now, the word that comes to my mind is stability. And right now, I think in this time, in this season that we are in, we need some stability at this particular time. I'm going to say this about Terry. Terry did, at first, you know, she didn't win me over. And over a period of time, I saw her kind of struggle at the beginning. And then later on, I saw that she got comfortable in the position. And I said, okay, I think we would be okay. And the reason why I say that, because since I've been on the board, we never been in the paper for bad operations. We never been in the paper about having a bad relationship with the council. We never been in the paper having a bad relationship with the mayor. We have not been in the paper talking about cutting jobs. Today, we're talking about hiring. So I want to look at consistency. And the first thing that comes to my mind, believe it or not, and I know I heard at the beginning, are the employees of this great organization. Someone new could come in and change everything. And then you're going to come back to the board and complain, and we might be in the position to go, well, you know, this person is working within their area of authority. We can't do anything because we're policymakers, not operational managers. So the pro that I have for option number 3 is stability and consistency. You all worked as a team. There are some strong type A personality leaders here, but y'all worked as a team and kept this operation going. So those are my words.
Anybody else want to address the first options? Continue with interim. I think we moved on to discussing the search that's gotten in this mix of conversation. I'm looking at you, at your eyes. You want to see? No, I'm looking at you. I'm reading faces. I don't know if you want to say anything or not.
Well, I agree with Jarvis. I think Terry's done a great job. I think it gives us stability. It just puts all this to rest. I think the interim tag, at least to the community, signifies some sort of lack of stability. And I mean, I've heard lots of people say, well, what's going on at the library? Well, there are a lot of good things. There are a lot of great things going on at the library, and most of them come right out of Terry's office. So I think the interim tag is not a healthy thing. It's fine up to now, but at some point you just got to move on. And I think another search would be expensive, time-consuming. We would be adrift for another year of uncertainty, and I just don't want to get into that again when we've got a wonderful option sitting right here at the table with us. So I'm with Jarvis.
Thank you. I do not have the benefit of the previous search, but what I do have is the experience of right now. And my experience has been the thriving of our public library system every day. So taking into account the feedback that we've heard today, in my experience, Terry has interviewed for this job every day, and she has thrived. The library is thriving. The relationship with the council, and I see the vision being implemented and executed every day through her leadership. So very pleased with what we're seeing, and Charvis, I agree, stability, consistency is important, as well as the operational excellence that we're experiencing as a library system under Terry's leadership. So the qualifications, I think, are on display.
Can I also go off of what you were saying? Were you done, Rosalind? My apologies.
No, go ahead.
I want to speak to the elephant in the room. And to me, what I've perceived the elephant in the room to be is transparency and communication, the pulse of the staff and what they're experiencing as it relates to that. And so if I were to just focus on number 3, I would want to, 1, clarify and be transparent about context. Where we were a year ago is not where we are. To your sentiments on present. And while the context matters, it is not where we currently are. So I think those two are differences. And for me, to meet that gap, to me, is what are the needs of our staff members? Where can we reconcile the current feelings, transparency, and then redefine what it means to consider interim versus actually naming the director. Like, what are the evaluative metrics, and is Terry meeting them? Because, to hear that some folks want to understand vision, I would understand how in a bureaucratic system, when you're at a certain level, you don't always know what that looks like. You only know it through experience, through your own supervisor, and how it trickles. What I'm seeing is, it is clear as day that a part of a priority of her vision is to include the people, to understand what are these layers experiencing through managers. You go back to your teams, get feedback. You go back to your teams. So that's a leadership principle. Does every level understand to look for that as a visionary, right? And so I think we have to name the cons might be that we have to address transparency and what communication looks like, right? And that's not to say that we don't vote for number 3, because there's a lacking of that. That's something that can be fixed and reconciled. So those are my thoughts about number 3 is, let me name it because I said a whole lot. I would say, I think it's important to consider assessing what it means to transition an interim role into director. What are the evaluative metrics that would transition that? Because I would also say that she's meeting a ton of those. 2, continue to get feedback from staff. What does it look like? What is the core issue, right? So that's all number 3. And I want to go back to number 2 for process. I think I want to restate number 2. What does it look like to begin a new search? There's an HR term, and I feel like I'm drawing blanks. I'm gonna maybe attribute that to postpartum. Is that what it is? Yeah. My brain is rewiring. But there's a word, and if Sherry, if you have it, please feel free to share it. There's a word in HR that focuses on the information that you know of a candidate that's internal, which is the interviewing of every day. You know what you're getting, you know the performance, you know evaluation, you know exactly what you're getting when this person shows up. And then there's that unknown factor of hiring someone new. Again, there are terms for these things. And I think that what we know for sure is what we currently have, and basing that based on what our metrics are for what we want from a director might be a starting point for number 2. I do not agree on starting a whole new search and thinking that you are going to get the true essence of a person's leadership through a process. It is when you, let's be honest, when you meet someone new, when you're interviewing, you are putting forward your best representation, right? That you have no experience as to what that person is like. And so given that she's been interim for this long and doing the job, I think it's only right. I think it's only equitable to first create a metrics for what we want in a director based on her interim experience before we jump on the board with a new search.
Anybody else? I'm trying to wait on my opinion. Anybody else, Katie? You hadn't said much at all.
I do want to speak, but I have something I want to say, but after this decision's been made, actually.
One of the things.
Well, I'll just say, one of my problems with keeping interim, it just keeps us at status quo. That article that was sent to me about what the staff was saying, and I think that the reporter only interviewed of the one person to say the staff was kind of like being held in limbo. I know I'm putting words in somebody's mouth, but it's not actually what was said. But it's like the uncertainty that's in the atmosphere that's been there for so long, which is inhibiting what is happening with the library on the staff side. So it's that uncertainty that's going on. The other thing I think is, as long as we keep saying interim, to me it feels like we're being asked to stay at status quo, because it seems like we're not sure of what we want. And I think we're not a status quo library. I want to say that this library has always been ahead of change, and that's what's been going on at the library, and I think a title needs to be reflective of that. So I don't want us to keep saying we're interim. I'm like, how long do you do interim, you know? And if we go through another search process, then it's still gonna take us another year to go through that, because we still have to go back through the procurement process. We have to select, people to be on a search committee again. They have to agree to be on the search committee. We have to, do the job description again. We have to go through all of that again. Really to get, when I say that, go through that again, we would go through the process with the process remaining the same. So, because it has not changed. So, and it affected what we did before. So, go ahead.
I do feel like I just need to step
Yes.
in and correct one thing that you said.
Yes, please
This
do.
does not have to go through procurement. Metro HR does these executive searches.
Okay.
You can elect to
Okay.
do an outside search, which is, I understand what you all did last time, but it doesn't have to happen that way. It can go through just Metro HR.
Okay, thank you so much. So we could then still go through, we could go through the procurement process to hire an outside firm, or we could use the Metro HR to do a search. But that would still take time and posting. And if we were to do a national search, which I would want us to do, that would still take
Right.
a lot of time. Okay?
No, well, that would mean we're back in the same process as before.
Whether we use the first search firm or not, yeah.
Joyce, may I revise my, not to then have the last
Okay,
word. but,
absolutely. We could always change your mind.
I think maybe it is more appropriate to say it now than after. I can't, I feel as though I must I heard what you said, Alexandria, and I heard what you said, Sherry, and I just can't sit as a person, much less, you know, a board member, and not address some of that. Obviously can't speak for anybody here. It hurts me personally to hear, and I know that it's genuine. I know you're saying what people believe and feel, but that anyone on our staff, that anyone who is a member of color feels unfair, feels underrated, feels disenfranchised. That is the opposite of what I personally would want to do, and I think it's the opposite of what members of this board would want to do. And I just feel as though I have to address that, that while our actions made people feel that way, I want to apologize, because those were not the intent of our actions. And Sherry, you said directly that there are library staff members who fear retaliation. And I cannot in any way imagine how anyone individual on this board, both individually or as a body, would ever want to retaliate against that group that we are working the hardest to support, that we have faith in and believe in. And so, again, I just have to address the fact that if there's any action that I or we have taken that would make people feel that they are in fear, I apologize for that, because that it's not our intent in any way.
I think,
There
oh, I'm sorry.
two other, just really quickly, things that I would want to address, and really, you all have already addressed them, but I want to, it kind of hit me succinctly as you all were talking. Alexandria, you talked about librarians living in fear right now, and that is so accurate, so true. And I think Jarvis said it first, but everybody said it one way or another, that the stability, the constancy that we have with Terry, I think lets us know that we don't need to live in fear. If in fact it is determined that Terry becomes the director, we know where she is going to lead us, because we have seen it. We've seen it over the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever it has been. We have seen it in action every single day. And of all times, I feel like, and I think, Jarvis, this is what you were alluding to at the beginning, it's not just the stability of Terry herself as leader, but if there was ever a time that every library needs stability for this city, for this state, it is now. And we are seeing that. And Sherry, you mentioned, and I think this is a fair thing to say, and I know, I'm sure everybody's felt it since the day that we made the decision we made of the staff and the community have the right to hear Terry's answers to questions. And that's a very fair way to see it and to think. I'm going to agree with what Rosalind has said, and Nadine said this as well. How Terry has led every single day since the day she took the position as interim, I think, is a living proof of her answers to those questions. And I agree with Nadine, when you meet somebody, they want to give the best face. The truth is, you can't give your best face every single day. And we have seen that, in fact, I think the answers that others would say is what they would do, in fact, she has done.
I just want to emphasize that I also think the board is looking at it from all vantage points. I mean, on this board, you have different genders, we got different ethnicities. We got white, we got black, we got Hispanic, you know, and I think we're different ages. We have different sets of skills on jobs, you know, where we work. We have different life experiences. We've got the age differences here. And I think we kind of represent the city, you know, in as best a way as we can. at this point. And so I think as we consider all of these things, we're not afraid here to, I know everybody at this table is not afraid to disagree with anybody. And I think we're coming from a place where, you know, we're bringing our life experience with us as we make the decision. And so we are considering the type of person that we have as we talk about this. Yes.
I just want to add one thing. Let's don't forget that the mayor took time out of his schedule to come to our meeting. I mean, he never does that. He just doesn't have time to go to all these board meetings all over Metro to endorse Terry. You know, it's our job to hire and fire, and we all take that seriously. But the truth is, he's sort of her boss and our boss, and that means a great deal to me.
That's option 1, option 2. You want to talk about option 3?
May I make a motion, if possible? I move to remove option 1.
That you want to remove consideration for the interim. Is that okay? From the thing? Second. Okay. Charvis made a motion to remove option 1 from the discussion. Kate has made a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Yes.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion. I move to remove option 2.
How many seconds can there be?
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to remove option 2. It is second.
Second.
Okay, Kate is second. Never know where this is going. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
I have questions.
Okay, Nadine?
I think before we move forward, for number 2, I would want to know what HR's process for interim to director looks like, and or the other option for a national search. Can we just kind of highlight that? What is your process for those 2 things? And I know timing was brought up, but it's not just timing, right? It's also the level of excellence, right? I just don't want to hire somebody now because of timing. No, we want to get the best person. So if we just can go over the process for what it looks like for interim to director as opposed to national search, because we used the firm last time. So if we were to take the option of HR administering that, I know we talked about time frame, but what does that process look like? Is there any difference in variations or anything like that with the process?
Could you incorporate that into option number 3?
Absolutely, but then that rules out the other components of a national search. If you can answer that, I'm okay with moving forward.
She's looking at you, Susan. You're looking at you, Sherry.
As it deals with the Metro Central HR process, that process, because it would not include multiple members of the public, and then they would present to the
And they is,
Director Shannon Hall and her department.
As it is with the group, as to in other director searches that I've the assistant director, they may reach out to other professionals outside of the Metro. There's also may include other directors from other departments, so they would, meaning they, when I say they, meaning Shannon Hall, she and her team would determine what that board, how that board is made up.
It's no inclusion of the board itself.
There would not be, they could not include more than one member of the board, because to include more than one member of the board during that screening process would mean that it would have to be a public interview process.
It seems like the same process that we did
In
before.
essence, it is the same.
It's the
but
same
it was
process
zero
we did
sunshine for
before
us.
because there was to be one member.
Right.
I was that person, but then I had to step down because they said that it would then be public.
But wait, that's,
Sounds like the same process.
yeah, but it's, Sherry's, I think, making clear that that one person could be and it wouldn't be public. That was not the experience last time. So I'm just wondering,
I think before they said that because the board appointed that group to screen the candidates, that made them a committee of the board. So,
But in this case, like, and Sherry, correct me if I'm wrong here, like any other Metro hiring process, we would not have any visibility into who applies, where they are chosen, how long it takes until the end of the process. Now, Director Hall could, I'm sure she could say that if I wanted to bring to the board her 3 finalists, you know what I mean, or 2 or whatever, she has the right to make those. But there is no requirement that we would even know who's in the running.
Answer my questions. I'm okay with moving on with the motion.
Yes.
I really
But
want
the
us
move
to
have
have a
been-
discussion of all of it.
Yeah, so we do need to have a
The
discussion according to Robert Rules of Order, I'm sure. So
Mm-hmm.
it has been motioned and seconded, so, and we had a discussion. So, Madam Chair, I advise that we vote again since we had a question.
Restate your motion, please.
I move to remove option number 2.
Motion on the floor to remove option 2.
To call for, it's been seconded
Seconded.
and
Who
we've
seconded
had a
it?
discussion,
Who
yeah.
seconded it before?
So, I have to vote.
Kate, did you
I
second?
did.
Oh, Katie did, okay. All right. All in favor to remove option 2? Say aye.
Aye.
So now we're on a discussion of option 3. And that we would, option 3 would be to name, and again, I'm going back to my notes from HR and legal, that we would name Terry as the director of the library. So you want to talk through that?
Yeah, I think I would still want to know what the HR process for interim to director might look like. I recognize that the decision is up to us. I want to know that because I have. I think it's clear as day that the board could. I'm just jotting off some notes. I think it's clear as day that the board members could talk about demonstrated vision over her experience from the time that we've been on the board. I recognize that there's going to be some variability based on when we entered the board. How she might navigate, decision-making, cultural, alignment. I think those are all things that we could identify and review as we're considering this for the evaluation pieces. I do think continuous transparency and getting feedback from staff members to see how how they're experiencing the workplace. I think generally most leaders would do that, whether it's a new leader taking office or someone that is continuing their work, which it sounds like you already have an idea or process for that, which is that was it a staff performance or?
We started with the continuous improvement plan. We got feedback, realized that internal communication is one of the major things that we need to look at, as well as staffing. And then we would move on to the feedback from the staff, and see how they feel about the environment that they're working in, and as well as doing an external customer service survey.
Okay, so there's a staff engagement survey basically that's coming out. So we will get the pulse of how the staff members are experiencing the organization. Those are all factors that I would include as we consider option number 3.
May I ask you a direct question? Nadine, you're asking really, you're making very good points. My question is, are you asking that we go through a process and those be answered before we vote on number 3, or as you know, Terry, like any director, goes through an annual evaluation process? And is it something that we need to defer a decision today until those are answered, or is it something that you would have on the record such that they would be a part of her annual evaluation that we measure against? It's timing more than anything else, I guess I'm asking.
Number 2, that those are all the things that are considered in the transition, into that role, so that transparency, exists, and that there's a plan of action. So this person, has been appointed. What's their role?
Living up to being the director that we.
Yeah.
Just.
I think that
I think next was,
Okay.
I'm sorry, next.
No, good.
I'm trying to look at hands around the room. Go ahead.
Sure, thank you. I would want to hear from Terry. I've heard early on in the interim phase that Terry was not interested in having the job as a permanent. So we're in the now. So I would want to hear from Terry that she does want the job. And I would want to hear her vision. If it's not through a process of appointing her in that role. But then I think we also owe it to Terry to be clear about what are the expectations of the job. I think it would be very unfair to her, as well as to the library system, to appoint her in a position and then tell her what is expected of her.
Well, when you have, such thoughtful articulation of people who did not feel that this was a good move for the board to make, it does put Terry in a difficult situation. So how do we reconcile those two things so that, and Nadine's recommendations, I think, do that. But I think that's important so that everybody is relaxed and focused on the work rather than negative energy around a choice that may have been made.
I remember the evaluation. One of the questions that is asked, what did we expect of her for the year? And so I think that the board would name those things as I put down, and I would ask you to do that because we would have to do the evaluation. So if you want to evaluate what she has done in the area of cultural alignment, continuous transparency, the things that are important to you, that would be a part of what is written in the evaluation, and then you would evaluate her on that. Yes.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Jarvis is next. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, Jarvis.
I'd like to make a motion,
Yes, sir.
because we've been down this road. So I move for the board to accept option number 3.
There's a motion on the floor.
Second. What I was going to say is, there was just like you said, there was this question raised about, does Terry even want the job? That was 2 years ago when we or more, I don't know, when we appointed you as interim. I just think you're right. I think we should hear from Terry before we vote.
That's why I made that. Hear from her.
I want to remind us too that it's 1:22, so. I'm sorry.
So the question I'm answering is, do I really want the job?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So, yes, I would do this job for another couple of years. I've already done it for 2.5 years. I said when we originally started out on this, I was not applying for the director's position, not because I didn't want it, but because I was trying to do what was best for Nashville Public Library. And that was to be able, I knew that I wasn't going to stay past 70 years old. And when the process started, I wanted you all to be able to find somebody that could lead you into the future for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever that is. I turned 68 in April. And so realistically, I'm not that person. It is such an honor to lead this library system, to oversee such an incredible staff and program. But realistically, that doesn't mean for the next 10 years. So I didn't apply knowing that I thought that you all would find someone when you went through the interview process. And honestly, I love what I'm doing. I just know that I want everyone to know that I'm not going to do it for another 5 or 10 years. So does that help, Rosalind?
It does.
And I think this gives you all the time. Joyce listed all those things that you all need to come together and, job description, questions, how you're going to do the interview process, what do you look for in a leader, and that gives you the time because we all know it takes that amount of time to get to that point.
I kind of that what Terry has been doing all along has been preparing us for the future. This continuous improvement has taken a long time. We've heard from over 200 employees. We have heard from customers in the system. And I think all of that gets us down the road of preparing us for the future. I think that her leadership has been proven. We've seen her, testify before the council in terms of that budget, and she's an expert at it. And what I like, because I like kind of participatory management, is, some people will present a budget and it's just with the budget that the leader presented. But from what I've seen from Terry, is what I like and what I used to do is at another job where I was CEO, it came from the bottom up, so she really knows what people are needing. And that they know there's not unlimited money out there. And they have people under her leadership are having to say, well, we don't have a lot of money, but I choose this over this. And all of that has bubbled up into a budget that we know of what the library's priorities are. And the managers have participated in that, and she has eloquently defended that, at the Metro Council. All of the things that we are doing right now, Begin Bright program, the mobile library, the opening up, we just, trying to get the money for Hadley Park, for Richland Park. All of those things are in our future. And I'll tell you the other thing that I looked at, when we had, which I think is indicative of what a leader is supposed to do, is that I talked with Terry about a position that we had open, and it was a top position. We had a resignation. And rather than fill that position, she went back down to what is this position doing now? And she didn't think that was preparing us for the future. It was involving information and IT and all of that. And she wanted the library to have the latest because we've got AI coming down, and she's thinking is that position gonna do this? Rather than going ahead to fill the position with that job description, she talked to some of this you all don't know. I know because I have my monthly meeting with Terry. But she talked to experts who were chief information officers in the city to say, what do you think the library should be doing? Some of them didn't even know what the library was doing, and she brought them in to do a tour of the library and got their critique of what the library was doing. And after all of that and giving advice, she rewrote the position to do that. So that puts us in the future, and it also makes other people in the city put the library on their radar in terms of what they can do to help the library and how we can be the best. And all, I mean, we already named one of the libraries, best libraries in the country, but that's fleeting. You know, we have to keep that position as one of the best libraries in the country. And I also think the heart is there. And the reason why I say that, before I even knew Terry's name, I saw her in Edge Hill, and I didn't know who she was, but I watched this woman pay attention to kids in strollers. Now, I may cry here, but it was paying attention to that little stuff, which really matters to me. You know, I watched her deal with a mother in a stroller who was from public housing and go on from person to person, really letting each person know that that person was important. And that's kind of what I want for this library. We all sit around this table, but she has to do the everyday work, and if she is taking into account what that person may want, and then what the managers, knowing that the managers are going to be a part of what they need to be doing for this library, and it comes up to us, you know, to make the decision, then that's the person I want.
Madam Chair, can I move the question?
But you can, it's your prerogative.
We just vote?
You got to call for the vote.
Yeah, I think there's a motion on the floor.
And it was second
Second.
by
And it
you.
was seconded. So anybody else want any more discussion? Not. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I think we just had a unanimous vote to, what was that third option that I said? To name Terry Luke.
Name Terry as director.
of the library.
Sure. So first of all, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the board for having the confidence in me to be in this position. It is an honor of a lifetime to oversee Nashville Public Library. I came from 32 years in another library system, and to be able to experience people sitting at this table, the incredible leadership team, the staff that we have, the mayor's support and the council, our foundation. It's incredible, and it is something that you want to do every day, is to come to work and be part of it. As my son says, my mother has never worked a day in her life because she is so passionate about what she does and what the library does for the community. And that is where, like Joyce said, my heart is. My heart has always been in libraries. 50 years ago, I started as a library page shelving bound volumes of magazines at Youngstown State University. And since that time, I have been in a library working in one capacity or another because I do believe in the power of the library and what we can do for the community. That's just who I am. And so I do look forward to working with the board, with the mayor's office, with this incredible staff and the leadership team, because it takes a village. And also Nashville Public Library Foundation and our community, so that we can remain and move forward as this incredible library system. So just thank you, and we'll do our best.
Thank you. Now, the rest of the agenda is here, and can I ask that we just defer the other, except for the SEIU update, to hear that?
So the library manager is out sick today, so I think
okay.
that would work for this one. Brett did come and bring a show and tell for
how
the
long is
second
the show
one.
and tell?
No, he said he's like a couple minutes. He just wants to bring something. He and Linda have something to bring to you.
It's a couple minutes, okay. And I apologize. I have an issue going on in Belmont too regarding the weather. We were supposed to have 1,200 people tomorrow for an event, and so we have to make some decisions on what we're doing.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, come on, we're ready. I thank you for waiting.
Good afternoon. The month of February holds a very special meaning for the members of Wishing Chair Productions. As some of you may know by the publications issued at the beginning of the month, February 10th marks the birthday of our very own Thomas Tischner. Tom Tischner faithfully served the interest of the Nashville Public Library and the Nashville community for 50 years before his retirement in 1988. Wishing Chair Productions has chosen to honor the founder of the library's puppetry program this month in several unique ways. In early 2024, work began to adjust a production originally adapted by Tischner in 1978 and revised by Brian Hull in the mid-2000s, The Little Rabbit Who Wanted Red Wings. 3 months ago, the show was re-recorded, and the production is currently being performed in the Children's Theater. I'm happy to report that after only 8 of the 12 public performances, the show has enchanted over 1,000 patrons. And it doesn't stop there. Through social media outlets, our patrons currently have the opportunity to hear from the talented group of performers responsible for recreating Tom Tischner's Little Rabbit. Currently, the 5-episode segment that aired completely on the Wishing Chair Productions Puppetry Troupe Facebook page has over 870 playable views. Is that all? Not even close. Tom Tischner gave so much to NPL that this generation of puppeteers saw fit to honor the puppet master by creating the first of 2 commemorative Tom Tischner marionettes and miniature wishing chairs. Construction began on Construction began on the project in early 2024 and was unveiled on Tuesday, February the 11th, during story time in the Children's Theater at Maine. This marionette and wishing chair will be placed on a permanent display outside the Children's Theater. I mention all of this because a tremendous amount of planning and care went into this month-long celebration. In late 2023, a vision was shared with me. If this vision were to ever become a reality, its effects would forever mark the Nashville Public Library's puppetry legacy, not just for the library system or for the city of Nashville, but for the state and the world. To further explain the vision, I turn to Brett Wilson, who is our production manager over Wishing Chair Productions.
And while Brett's going up there, the mayor was interviewed by NECAT during the Chinese New Year celebration, and he had he basically announced during his time with the NECAT interview that he had just come from Maine with his daughter and saw the production. He loves Wishing Chair. Loves.
It's a great audience member. Thank you so much, Linda. Greetings. As you just heard, there's so many exciting things going on for us in the month of February. There is one more that marks, I guess, the culmination of all of this work and this effort, and that is this proposal, this work that started in 2024. In 1967, the newly formed Metropolitan Historical Commission of Nashville and Davidson County initiated a historical marker program to commemorate significant people, places, and events in the city's pasts. Late last year, discussions started with members of the Historical Commission in the creation of a proposal to suggest or recommend Tom Tishner be added as an official historical marker on behalf of the Nashville Public Library. This proposal has four key points that would allow it to officially be submitted to that commission for consideration. The 4 points revolve around the first being a letter of significance. The letter of significance would cover all the different aspects of Tom Tishner's life and his interaction with the library. The proposal that was created, or the letter of significance that was created, highlights Tom Tishner's time as a student within the metropolitan school system at the age of 15, coming to the library, and volunteering his services in the creation of new productions and Enchanting Children as a volunteer, part-time, and then full-time student. That letter of significance also covers his time working with the library, his time with WNBC TV, also his radio broadcast through Wormwood Forest, productions on Broadway, and then, of course, his eventual retirement with the Nashville Public Library in 1988. That's the first component. The second component covers ideas or thoughts as far as what the historical marker would be. The historical marker would be a summarized version of the letter of significance. The opposite side would hold a likeness of Tom Tishner, but also feature a quote from the puppet master himself. "I didn't have the looks to be a leading man or the talent to be a great character actor. You know, I couldn't make any sense of Shakespearean speech. I just don't have that kind of mind. But through the marionettes and the puppets, I can be almost anything that I want. You can be whatever your imagination will allow you." The second component to the proposal. The third is a location, the idea for the location for the historical marker. After conversations with library administration, it was determined that the potential best location for a marker of this type would be on the corner of 7th and Church Street. That puts it very, very close to where Tom Tishner last enchanted audience at the previous location for the main library, even though his tradition continues on to this day. The fourth component is a letter recognizing the access to the funds, which we do have, thanks to, of course, to the Nashville Public Libraries Foundation. All 4 points of the proposal we do have minus one key point, and that is permission, which is why I'm here today. I have examples and I've got copies for this entire body, but I'm here to ask that this body consider creating a resolution that approves of this effort going forward in the recognition of Thomas Hager Tishner and what he has done in the service of the Nashville Public Library and what his work continues to do for this generation and hopefully, prayerfully, for generations to come.
Madam Chair, may I ask one question of Brett? Do we have to have a resolution, or can we just pass it right this minute?
You're more than welcome to. I'd like to open, I want people to, of course, have time to consider and weigh options, but you're more than welcome to.
Is anybody inclined to make the motion?
I move we accept the recommendation. Is that what we're doing?
Second.
I'd love to have the stuff you just read, the letter and his quote, if you could send that to us.
I have examples for everyone to take with them today.
Great.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
And seconded, Kate seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? no opposition. You have a unanimous vote and 100% backing of this board.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's go ahead and call up SEIU, because we understand that the board, Aaron is out today. Where's the representative? Thank you. Sorry you had to wait so long.
Hi, I'm Kyle Cook. I'm the lead steward of SEIU Local 205 Public Library. I just wanted to get back to you on the questions you posed in October at the board meeting. Mr. Simmons and Chair Cersei asked if we were seeing divisiveness, hate, discrimination from the patrons and in the community.
Yes.
Yes, staff have reported regularly receiving hostile remarks about their gender identity, their race, their sexual orientation, both in person and online, and they share these with me pretty regularly. Last month, a patron painted a swastika on the doors of the Green Hills Library. This is a symbol of hate, and that patron had previously been suspended at Madison after harassing the employees there, and they continued to call the branch and harass them on the regular. I've heard firsthand accounts of staff being bullied by patrons and other staff, particularly towards Arab Americans and Jewish Americans regarding the war in Israel. So I wanted to fill you in on that.
Yes.
There were 3 other questions. I don't know if you want to
No, please, we're
stop.
here.
Mr. Rand asked about communication between the union and HR as it pertains to policy and workflow. Our union leaders do meet with the library administration 4 times a year, and we arrange this through our union organizer, Alex Danner, and Sherry Adams, the HR manager. Ideally, we'd like to have these scheduled out in advance so that we could have more administrators attend those because they generally are kind of last minute, and so we haven't had the participation that we'd like to see. And as it pertains to policy, the union staff are not really asked to consider new or revised library policy. I think they would like to be considered. I would characterize our communication as kind of frayed. Whereas our communication with the mayor's office and the Metro HR, that's a committee. I also go to those meetings as the library representative, and that partnership is much more productive. Regarding parking at the main library, which is a big policy that's coming up, we're really pleased that the administration is pursuing a tiered system for charging different amounts for staff who want to park at the main library, and we feel this is the most equitable approach and one that we are supportive of for sure. Chair Cersei asked if employee insurance covered mental health care. Our health insurance covers some types of therapy with select therapists. We have on-demand support through our EAP provider, where an employee can reach out to a mental health care provider on demand. The ideal mental health care, however, would be trauma prevention, and we worry that our management kind of underestimates the constant stress that's put on them, especially marginalized groups at work. And we'd like to see all of our staff better educated about unconscious bias and discrimination. The last thing you asked was about how do we comprehensively capture the concerns of the staff. Dr. De La Rosa asked that. Our union has online messaging that we use pretty constantly, and I meet with our 6 other stewards who are library employees every month. And then we have a larger organizing committee of about 30 of us that meets quarterly ahead of those larger library administration and union meetings. So that's what I wanted to update you on.
Thank you for your follow-up.
Such a thorough
Happy
job.
happy to
Any
take your
questions?
questions.
I know, I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't want to prolong our meeting, but with the, I know Terry has said in her report that she was going to request temporary security guards. Would that alleviate any of the problems that Green Hills would be experiencing with the?
Temporary security guard in the next budget. Is that what you're referring to?
The problems that you talked about at Green Hills?
Swastika being
The
painted on the
swastika.
door.
Do you think security would help that?
I think administration probably be better. Did you
What
want
do you
to
think?
answer
Yes,
that one?
yes.
Well, that particular instance happened prior to opening, so a security guard would not help with that.
Okay.
But
Cameras, we have cameras?
we do have cameras, and that's how he was caught, because
Oh, you got caught, he got caught?
we saw him, we knew who he was, and he was
Okay.
arrested.
Okay.
Adding this, it's the money to cover the security guards. We already have the security guards in place, the contract security.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot more expensive than we have budget for. I went to a committee a couple of weeks ago talking about vacancies, how we spend our vacancy money. Sometimes we have to pay for operating, and that was one of them. And so I'm requesting it this year because we were $400,000 over what we have budgeted for contract security because we have it at so many libraries now. So, but in that particular instance, it would not have helped because it was prior to us opening.
Well, I'm concerned about all of that stuff, and it's going to get worse. You know, the swastika on the door is abhorrent and terrible, but bullying and harassing and abusing our staff is that really gets personal.
So can I just say something to that? So since that meeting in October, emails have gone out to staff. I send a monthly email. I send a separate email acknowledging that, after the November election, there's, fears in that arena, but there's also the fact that our staff is having to have, somebody speak to them like that. But what we wanted to reemphasize is we have procedures in place to address. We have codes of conduct that the staff can go to a security guard. If a security guard is not there, they need to be going to their manager, because we don't want, and what we were talking about is our library staff and customer, not staff to staff, because we have civil service rules in place that address that. So we did recognize that, staff were being bullied, but we also have to know that we have to hear about it in order to address it. And so that's why I sent the email to say, please, let someone know, whether it's your manager or the security. Mark Crowder is incredible leading our security staff. And so, we don't want that to happen, and we're going to do everything we can. We can't prevent it when it initially takes place, but what happens afterwards, we can. The other thing I was going to say is, we do have Jenna Schmid leads the policy review committee. So if our staff wants to have input into policies, they can be a part of that committee. We ask for people to sign up every July, and then the committees are selected, and Jenna meets with them to go over policies. So.
Thank you. I think there's one other thing that I would want to give you a little feedback on in terms of having the managers to meet with SEIU. Again, it gets down to evaluation too. There's an item on the evaluation that talks about that manager supervises employee relationship with employees. And so I think that Terry could address that easily as a part of evaluation and for improvement, everything that we need to have happen.
And Kyle, I can ask Sherry Adams, because she's the one that, she and Libby coordinate the dates for the meetings, and I didn't know that was an issue. So we'll talk to Sherry and.
Thank you. I want to thank you for staying too. I realize that all the board members, I realize that this has been a lengthy meeting. We don't normally do this. But so I want to thank you, Jarvis.
One quick thing. I think sometimes we may take this for granted, but, and it hasn't been a long meeting, but I really want to thank our media production team.
Yes.
You know,
Give you all a
it's
hand.
not easy to do these setups. So as a CIO, you know, I understand the things that you have to go through to set these meetings up and do it remotely and simulcast and all these things. So y'all do things on an aristocratic level, so I just appreciate it.
We're paying attention, because you must have had a problem. Somebody at a remote location must have said they were having a problem. You all were on the phone trying to get all that straight. We see you, we see you, we see you.
It's magic.
Anything else? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Needs no second.
Oh.
Needs no second. Okay, thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you.